Today, we're diving into one of humanity's oldest vices. But, as you're about to see, it's been given this really powerful modern makeover. I mean, that's a pretty wild question, right? But seriously, in this explainer, we're going to unpack this whole idea that gluttony, this thing we were always told is a sin, has actually become the engine that drives our entire way of life.
And you don't have to look far to see it, right? I mean, think about the madness of Black Friday or just endlessly scrolling through social media hauls. It's not just about buying stuff anymore. It's become this cultural ritual where the only rule is that more is always, always better.
Now, this desire for excess, it's not new. Not at all. The ancients had their bacchanalia, right? These crazy festivals for Bacchus, the god of wine and good times. But here's the key difference. For them, it was a temporary thing. It was a party that had a start and, most importantly, an end.
So, let's get into it. An ancient vice modernized. How in the world did a temporary party become our permanent, everyday reality? Well, to figure that out, we gotta go back to what this vice even meant in the first place.
Okay, so the classic definition is pretty simple. The word gluttony itself comes from the Latin for literally to gulp down. And for hundreds of years, that's all it was seen as, a personal weakness, a kind of destructive habit that led to waste and, moral rot. But some early Christian thinkers, they had this deeper word for it, gasteria. And for them, it wasn't just about eating too much. No, it was a spiritual disorder. It was this constant nagging craving that pulls our attention away from what's actually important. So think less about a full belly and more about a systemic, constant distraction. And this right here, this really shows you how things have changed. The old Bacchus, the god of a party that would eventually end, he's been replaced. The new Bacchus, he's the patron saint of nonstop consumption. And he's not pouring wine anymore. He's pouring oil, sugar, and capital, the very stuff that fuels our global economy. It's like the party just never, ever stops.
Okay, so let's move into our next section, from sin to system. This is the really crucial part. This is where a personal weakness gets totally redesigned into something our whole society depends on.
This is what's called the great inversion. It's a total flip. What was once seen as a spiritual problem is now seen as an economic necessity. A personal vice? Nope. Now it's your civic duty. I mean, your spending is what drives GDP growth, right? The road to moral decay got a new name, the path to progress. And this quote just nails it. It's not about appetite anymore. It's an addiction that's been made totally normal, even celebrated, as the way our economy is supposed to work. Which brings us to our next section, the architecture of excess. So how is this addiction kept alive? What are the gears in this machine that keep us all hooked? It really breaks down into this three-step logic. It's almost cannibalistic. First, the system needs to overproduce constantly just to make a profit. Second, to sell all that extra stuff, marketing's job is to make you feel dissatisfied, to literally invent new needs you didn't know you had. And third, things are built to break. It's called planned obsolescence, and it's designed to force you right back to the store. And the sheer scale of this it's mind-boggling. We're getting hit with thousands of ads every single day, and they all have the same quiet little message whispering in our ear, you are not enough, you need more. It's just this constant psychological drumbeat that leaves us feeling like something's always missing. So let's talk about the fallout. Section 4, consuming the planet. Because this nonstop cycle doesn't just eat up our time and money, it's eating the planet itself. The whole picture shifts here. It's not just one person overeating anymore. It's our entire civilization, just gorging itself on the earth. All the raw materials, the energy, the very systems that keep us alive are being served up on a platter. And here's what's left behind when the feast is over, the leftovers. Landfills are overflowing, the seas are rising, the air gets thicker. We're tearing down forests and dredging up the oceans, all to feed this machine that can never be satisfied. This isn't some far-off idea. It's the real, tangible price of endless growth. Okay, our final section, the hunger for meaning. So besides the huge environmental damage, what's the real cost to us as people? There's this incredibly deep spiritual and psychological price we pay for living in a system built on wanting more, more, more. What this all leads to is this deep feeling of estrangement, a sense of being cut off from our own bodies, from each other, from the natural world. And here's the tragic part, the real irony. We're constantly gorging, but we never feel nourished. We're stuffed, but we're still empty.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. This endless consumption, it's not actually about the stuff. It's about trying to fill a hole inside us, a void where meaning and purpose used to be. It's a spiritual hunger that no shopping spree could ever fix. So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. Our whole culture has taught us, from day one, to always want more. But in this constant chase, have we completely forgotten what it even feels like to have enough?